Hello everybody, this is Lara from Pure Elliott Wave. Today I am going to give you an updated Elliott Wave and technical analysis of XRP, and I'm going to look at the entire price history of XRP. Want to master Elliott Wave analysis in under 5 hours and boost your investment results without wasting time on dull textbooks? This course was designed with you in mind. Whether you're looking to make smarter trades, spot profitable opportunities, or just gain confidence in your analysis, this course will help you do it faster than you thought possible. Hi, I'm Lara Ediarty, a chartered market technician with now 16 years of experience. I've crafted Learn Pure Elliott Wave to deliver actionable knowledge you can use immediately. No fluff, no filler. Here's what you'll gain. The ability to confidently identify and label Elliott waves, an understanding of Fibonacci ratios to enhance accuracy, the tools to predict market movements and improve your portfolio. Our students rave about how this course helped them make better investment decisions. The practical focus really helped me apply these concepts to my trading, from Ganesh. And there's more. For the next 24 hours only, you can save $100 on Learn Pure Elliott Wave. Plus, during the sale, you can bundle it with Learn Pure Technical Analysis and Buy Low, Sell High at a massive discount. This is your chance to get all 3 courses for a fraction of their original price. Click below to claim your discount. Don't wait. The sale ends tomorrow at 10 AM. My Elliott Wave count at the monthly time frame begins in 2014 at the first major low. From this low to this high, I can see a decent looking 5-wave structure. 5 steps forward, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is followed by 3 steps back, 1, 2, 3 steps back. This is a 5-wave impulse. I'm labeling it cycle wave 1. This is a double zigzag. I am labeling it cycle wave 2. 5 steps forward, followed by 3 steps back. Expects another 5 steps forward to move beyond the end of the first. That's your basic Elliott wave structure. It's fractal. So I have cycle 1 complete here, cycle 2 complete here. Now we're looking for a cycle degree 3rd wave. And if you know anything about Elliott wave rules, one of the most basic is a 3rd wave may only subdivide as an impulse. So that will be labelled an impulse at primary degree. Primary 1 and 2 are complete. Primary 3 is underway. Then we'll have primary 4, which may not move into wave 1 price territory. And then finally we'll have primary wave 5. Primary 3 may only subdivide as an impulse. Intermediate 3 may only subdivide as an impulse. We now have a series of 1, 2, 3 overlapping first and second waves, and this is what happens at the start of a big extending 3rd wave. So it certainly looks like cycle wave 3 is going to be a long extension, and that is extremely normal for cryptocurrencies. Almost happens 100% of the time, like as close to 100% as you're ever going to get for any market. And that's really likely cycle 3 is going to be extended. Within cycle wave 1, primary 3 is 14.72 times the length of primary 1. I think I've double checked this data. I've changed to bit stamp data. The previous data I was using wasn't as good, and I think this is slightly better. There are slight differences in different data feeds. Well, this is a global market. That's how they work. So primary 3 is 14.72 times the length of primary 1. That's not a Fibonacci ratio, but if we see that same ratio that we see exhibited between these 2 waves, exhibited between cycle 1 and cycle 3, and primary 1 here and primary 3 here, then that's how I get these target calculations. So I'm not using a Fibonacci ratio to calculate these targets. I am using a previously exhibited ratio between a big 3rd and 1st wave for this market, because I think that might have a reasonable probability. It's a reasonable expectation. It's done it before. It could do it again. If that happens, then primary 3 would reach 27.44. Now I'm using the Fibonacci number series to calculate when these waves may end. So I've got where and I've got when for you. If primary 3 exhibits a Fibonacci 3 years in duration, it will end November this year. If cycle 3 lasts a Fibonacci 8 years, it'll end in March 2028. As we get closer toward the ends of these waves, as the Elliott wave structure gets closer toward completion, these numbers, the price targets, and the time expectations may very well change. You can narrow it down as you get more and more data and you get closer to the end. So don't have a go at me as if we get to November and it's not there. It might not complete in November 2025. It might take longer. I might have to use the next Fibonacci number in the sequence, or I might calculate it in weeks or days using the Fibonacci number sequence. So at this stage, this is the data I have to go with, and at this stage that looks like a reasonable expectation. I've drawn a base channel around primary waves 1 and 2. I've drawn the base channel from the start of 1 to the end of 2. I place a parallel copy at the end of 1. Intermediate 2 slightly overshot, but it has found support around about the lower edge of the base channel. The start of intermediate 3 also. Intermediate 3 should have the power, or primary 3 should have the power to break above the upper edge of the base channel. That's how you use a base channel. If price gets up there, and it may find some resistance for a little pullback before it has the bullish momentum to break through. We might see a backtest of support, although backtests of support aren't actually that common for cryptos, particularly for XRP, and then price may move up and away. I am expecting the end of primary 3 and almost certainly as close to 100% as you can get for any market, the end of cycle 3 to end with huge blow-off tops. Here's a blow-off top. That's how cycle wave 1 ended. Here's another one for the end of primary 1. The likelihood of a blow-off top at the end of a third wave is really, really high for a crypto. Here's a huge third wave. This is the biggest previous third wave XRP has exhibited. Primary wave 3 ended with absolutely vertical upward movement for 3 months. Now we've only had 1 month of vertical upward movement, and now we're having a little bit of a consolidation. So I don't think we've reached the strongest portion of intermediate primary or cycle wave 3 at this stage. Within the impulse of primary wave 3, intermediate 1 and 2 are complete, intermediate 3 underway, intermediate 4 when it arrives may not move into wave 1 price territory below 0.9301. Here's one way you can use 2 Elliott Wave rules to inform your investing and trading. If you enter a position within wave 1 price territory and the third wave is now underway, you know that the Elliott Wave rule says wave 3 must move beyond the end of wave 1 and wave 4 may not overlap wave 1 price territory. So if you enter in wave 1 price territory, you can hold for the duration of the third wave. You can ride out the fourth wave knowing that your position will remain profitable because 4 won't overlap into wave 1 price territory, and usually there's a big gap between them, and you can hold on to get the gains of the fifth wave. That's important for cryptocurrencies because it is most often the fifth wave which is the longest, strongest and quickest portion of the impulse. This is where the most profit is found. Looking at cycle wave 1, we see that here primary 1, primary 2, primary 3 is 14.72 times the length of primary wave 1. Primary 4, a triangle, lasted 6 months. Primary wave 3 lasted 18 months and it was 14.72 times the length in terms of profit potential of primary wave 1. But look at this. Primary wave 5 was over in just 2 months and it was 8.44 times the length in terms of profit potential of primary wave 3. This is where you got the most profit. This fifth wave, it was the longest distance, so the greatest profit in a fraction of the time that the third wave. So I will expect intermediate 5 to end primary 3 to do the same. Primary 5 to end cycle 3 to be the same. I expect this is where you're going to get the most profit out of this cycle degree third wave, not necessarily cycle 5 because it may be a fifth wave to end a first wave at grand super cycle degree, and it's a fifth wave to end a first wave, not a fifth wave to end a third wave. So there may not be the greatest profit here, but I will expect it here for primary 5 and here for intermediate 5. So that's how you can use those 2 rules. 3 must move beyond the end of 1 and 4 may not overlap 1 to inform your trading and investing strategies and your risk management. For my own purposes, I started buying XRP back here in 2019. My purchases are all really nicely profitable now. I'm holding on for the end of primary 3, absolutely at least, but for this one, I think I might prefer to hold on for the end of cycle wave 3. depending on when primary 3 ends, because I expect primary 4 to be relatively brief and shallow. Look at this again. Primary 4 here lasted 6 months, primary 2 lasted 11 months, so this is nearly half the duration. Fourth waves are commonly a lot more brief than their counterpart second waves. Primary 2 here lasted 18 months, so I'll expect primary 4 to be anywhere between 6 and 12 months. It could even be a little bit more brief than that. That's really normal for a fourth wave within a third wave. That happens because the power of the fifth wave pulls the fourth wave up, forcing it to be more brief and shallow than its counterpart second wave. So that's one reason why I'd like to wait to exit my position or sell my XRP at the end of cycle 3, not at the end of primary 3, and I think I can hold on for that. Let's take a look at the weekly time frame. I think we're going to go either from this low of primary 2 or the end of intermediate 2. Let's look. The end of primary 2 here. Intermediate 1 lasting a Fibonacci 34, intermediate 2 51, just a few short of a Fibonacci 55. So some of these waves for XRP are exhibiting Fibonacci numbers in the Fibonacci number sequence, and so that's why I'm using the Fibonacci sequence to try and estimate when these upcoming waves may end. I've got a target using intermediate 3 for you. It's using a 6.854. That's an extreme Fibonacci ratio, so this is reasonably conservative because it could be a lot longer than that. Remember, primary 3 and to primary 1 within cycle 1 was 14.72, so this is a lot shorter than a previous large third wave. So for XRP, it's rather conservative. That would say intermediate 3 ending at 4.84. If it lasts a Fibonacci 233 days from the starting date back down here to its end, it may end February 23rd this year. I expect intermediate 3 may end with vertical upward movement. I expect minor 5 to end intermediate 3 to be extremely likely. Now, as close as you can get to anything 100% for this market or any market, extremely likely to be the longest, strongest portion of intermediate 3. I think this is where you're going to get the profit of intermediate 3. Minor 5 is going to be probably quite spectacular. If my wave count's correct, and so far it has been. I was told I was wrong all the way back here. I was absolutely proven to be right as it broke above resistance and moved quite a lot higher so far. I mean, I could be wrong now, I could be wrong in the future. Let's take a look now at the structure of minor wave 3. I think we're going to go from the end of minor 2 down here. Yeah, minor 2 down here. Now we're looking at the impulse of minor 3. I've adjusted my triangle slightly. I think this has a slightly better fit. I think the triangle may not have been over here. We've got a few days of sideways movement, so I'm not seeing a real increase in upward momentum. I don't think that my Newt Wave 4 is complete and my Newt Wave 5 is underway. When my Newt Wave 5 begins, I'm expecting it to be quite explosive. So I expect we now have an incomplete triangle for my Newt Wave 4, still with reasonable proportion to the double zigzag of my Newt Wave 2 and perfect alternation. My Newt Wave 2 is a very deep double zigzag. My Newt Wave 4, a much more shallow regular contracting triangle with A, B, C, D complete, and now E to move just a little bit lower. Now it could be complete here, but I think it would probably look a little bit better if it continues further and a little bit lower. It's most likely to fall a little bit short of the AC trend line. If it does hit this trend line, then expect a little overshoot. I need to move my invalidation point. I haven't done that because technically E can't move below the end of C at 1.958. If E overshoots the AC trend line, don't expect it to be by much. And this invalidation point for the triangle is absolute because that Elliott Wave rule is absolute. E may not move at all, not even a fraction beyond the end of C. So if we see a new low by any amount at any time frame below this invalidation point, my triangle is wrong and my Newt Wave 4 is unfolding as probably a combination. I'd label it W, triangle for X maybe, and then we'd be looking at Y. I would expect mostly sideways movement and I would expect support about 1.90 to be very likely to hold. I don't expect movement much, if any, below that point for XRP at this stage. When the triangle is complete, I'll be looking for a bullish reversal candlestick pattern with support from volume for the start of my Newt Wave 5 to end minor wave 3. I expect my Newt Wave 5 is going to be the longest, strongest portion of minor wave 3. I expect it to last a lot less than 39 days, so this is a few more than a Fibonacci 34. I expect my Newt Wave 5 may be complete in or maybe a Fibonacci 13 or maybe 21 days, possibly, so 2 or 3 weeks of vertical upward movement, and I expect it to move a lot longer than 2.4184, so to cover a greater distance in terms of potential profit than my Newt wave 3 did. That's because this is a fifth wave to end a third wave 1 degree higher. It is the fifth wave to end a third wave that is the strongest portion and where you get the greatest profit within a third wave impulse, and that's true for almost all cryptocurrency charts that I've analysed. Target's the same here as at previous time frames. Let's have a look at some technicals. Oh, before we go there, this Elliott channel is also important. Draw it from the end of 1 to 3, place a parallel copy at the end of 2, not perfect down here, but if 4 is time consuming enough or deeper than expected, look for final support at the lower edge of this channel. I don't think it's going to get down there that far though. Technicals on the daily real quick for XRP, the moving average situation is full ball bullish. The short term 13, that's a Fibonacci 13 day, is above the mid term, which is 50 day, which is above the long term, the 200 day. They're all positively sloped, prices above all. This is a full ball bullish look. Price is finding support about 1.90. This previous upward trend up to the high of the 3rd of December, the upward trend reached very extreme, RSI reached overbought, and money flow reached overbought, and so it's unsurprising that we've got some consolidation. This is an absolutely normal, to be expected part of a healthy bullish run. Price doesn't move in a straight line. You can see that that statement is absolutely correct by a 5-second glance at pretty much any chart of anything, anytime, anywhere. Price doesn't move in a straight line. It's normal to have consolidations and pullbacks within a bull market, and this looks like a really normal sideways consolidation to relieve short-term extreme conditions developed on the 3rd of December. Price is finding strong support at 1.9. We've got a hammer here, another hammer here at support. We have a bearish engulfing pattern here at resistance. Another bearish engulfing pattern completed for the 7th of January, and now price is moving a little bit sideways. If we see a downward swing, look for support at 1.90. In order for confidence that the bullish run has resumed, we need to see price closing above resistance at 2.7 on an upward session with support from volume. As price is moving sideways, overall volume is declining. For the very short term, we are starting to see some increase in volume on upward sessions. So for the short term, I would read this volume profile for XRP as bullish. While price is consolidating, so is on balance volume. This one can give us really, really good advance signals. When price consolidates, you identify support and resistance, then look at on balance volume. I've identified support here and a resistance line here and a support line here. The resistance line has 3 tests. Now we may have another test here. It looks like it might be breaking above resistance, but it's certainly not clear. I'd want one more upward session and a clear break before I called that a bullish signal. If we see a break above resistance from on balance volume before price breaks above resistance, that is fairly likely, not certain, but fairly likely. It often works as an advance signal telling you that price is about to break out of its consolidation. Likewise, if we see a support break below support by on balance volume, then I would expect further downward movement from price, a break below 1.90. ADX is declining. There's no clear trend. The DX lines are whipsawing. The previous upward trend to the last high for XRP did reach very extreme. I'm judging for XRP very extreme to be above 50, not 45. I've adjusted it because this market's very extreme and above both DX lines. Consolidation has brought ADX really right down to a really low point. It's not quite below 15 yet. If it does get below 15 and then starts to rise up, that will be from a low level and below both DX lines. Then it would give us the strongest signal ADX can give. So the stage is being set for the resumption of the larger bullish trend at this daily time frame. This is a really good thing to see, a very healthy, normal pause consolidation within an ongoing bull market. RSI was deeply overbought, very overbought did not exhibit any bearish divergence at the high. It's well back into neutral territory. There is plenty of room for the larger upward trend to continue. Money flow reached deeply overbought and exhibited single bearish divergence. It's neutral, it's below 50. Fantastic. The stage is set for the resumption of the next bullish trend. Extreme conditions have been properly relieved. Everything's ready for the next bullish run. ATR is declining as price moves sideways. Absolutely normal to be expected behaviour of a consolidation, and this declining ATR and declining volume while price moves sideways and continues to find support about 1.90 strongly points to this being a consolidation within a larger bullish trend and not necessarily the start of a bear market. If this was the start of a bear market, I'd be expecting to see some strength and downward movement. We're not seeing that. We're seeing weakness as price moves sideways. So within that consolidation, price has recently gotten close to resistance. Stochastics nearly entered overbought. I'd expect a downward swing possibly to find support about 1.90 or close to it, and stochastics to continue lower until oversold. And there the downward swing may end and the next upward swing may begin. That's it from me with your XRP update, and I'll be with you tomorrow for a Solana update. I hope you're all having a lovely day. I did go back up on that mountain today. Unfortunately, well, I thought it was Mountain 1, Lara 0. Caesar says it was about even. I didn't have a great time and I fell over again. And yeah, we're going to have technicolor bruises, but that's part of learning, isn't it? Still getting better. Every day's getting better.